Sachin-Jigar, first of all, thank you so much for joining us on the FPJ.
All our pleasure.
Thank you so much for giving us a musical treat that Stree 2 is.
Thank you
Again,
so
all our
much.
pleasure.
Amazing,
All our pleasure.
amazing. And of course, a huge part of the success is the music, undoubtedly so. Now, when you taste the success and when you hear the feedback, is it all satisfying? But when you look back, where did the journey begin? The burden of, creating the same magic in the second installment and delivering on that promise.
See, of course, it is a big challenge. Stree 1 was a surprise hit. It was, something that we all made as a team with passion, and it worked so well. When Stree 2 came, we had to live up to that expectation and go beyond. So there was one way of going about it by taking one of the songs and starting by doing a 2.0 version of it. But all of us as a team decided that no, we are going to create an entirely new soundscape for this film, because the film itself is much bigger, much more wider, and it has so many more elements. So we did not want to limit the music to what it was. हमको उसको वहाँ से लेके अब की बार एक नए साउंडस्केप में सेट करना था, क्योंकि there are lots of other things happening in this film. So I'm glad that all of us were on the same page and we all took the risk of starting afresh. And after that, when people like it, and when they congratulate us, or when they really just the sheer love that comes away, it just feels very, very satisfying.
आपने कहा स्टीवन वॉज ए सरप्राइज सक्सेस, तो उसका जो बर्डन रहता है भाई, वो तो सरप्राइज सक्सेस हुई, ठीक थी। अभी पता है कि सेकंड इसको सक्सेस करना ही है, ज्यादा बड़ा करना है शायद, तो वो जो प्रेशर होता है, और आपने बोला कि ऑल ऑफ यू वर ऑन द सेम पेज, फॉर टू ऑफ यू टू बी ऑन द सेम पेज, what conflict, what solution making goes there?
But I think we conflict more than be on the same page.
Really?
Yeah, we come from completely different musical tastes. Our orientation is also very different. और हम जिस तरह का म्यूजिक आज भी सुन रहे हैं बहुत अलग है. But I think the merit lies in the combination of the opinions. तो एक स्वीट स्पॉट खुद ब खुद आता है बीच में, जब भी फिर कोई क्वेश्चन बचता नहीं है, तो वी लेट इट रिजॉल्व इटसेल्फ, क्योंकि एक ही गाना बन रहा है, तो वी लेट द सॉन्ग विन, वी लेट द म्यूजिक विन, बिकॉज इट्स नॉट अबाउट मुझे जो आइडिया आ रहा है वो बेटर है कि नहीं, वेदर उसमें से वो गाना आगे जा रहा है कि नहीं इज द आंसर वी आर लुकिंग फॉर. एंड विथ टाइम वी हैव अंडरस्टूड दैट देयर इज नो मेरिट इन like verbally arguing over something that is anyway going to find resolution in the song. So abhi also we've gone way ahead in terms of, like, we are family now, we trust each other like that. Sometimes I don't even compose the whole thing, sometimes I just compose first part thinking ki second part to Jigar ke paas hoga. We have also come out of different places, met the producer for the presentation of a song, and we've realized ki
We have almost made the same song.
Yeah. So you start knowing the other person.
You use the word sweet spot. Which was the sweetest spot in terms of one song in this particular album?
I think it was the most satisfying sweet spot was having Pawan Singh on Aayi.
Yeah. No debate.
No doubt about
No
it.
doubt about
No
it.
debate. Just the idea came through from the team and nobody blinked.
It was that, and when he I mean, it happened just one night before the release of the song, but उस गाने का पेट नहीं भरा था, उनकी आवाज़ आने से वो complete मील हो गई.
हॉरर कॉमेडी ये जो जॉनर है और जिसको जिस तरीके से रिवैम्प हुआ है, यू टू आर perhaps one of the biggest fans of that particular genre, horror genre especially. And just when you were thinking, because I was reading about this in an interview, just when you thought that this genre was perhaps dying out, it got revamped itself thanks to the comedy element that got integrated into this. So serving both these elements for one particular endeavor, is it because of your palette and love for horror genre, as well as perhaps finding sensibilities in the comical element in that as well? How does it work?
Well, like, see, as far as we are concerned, our job will be more to convince the audience that, listen, you're going to get a full entertainer. Come out to the theatre. The comedy part dilutes the horror, because a lot of people can't watch pure horror for 2 hours. It's too much for them to take. and we know that just pure comedy also is now not working. Okay, we are, and I always say this, that we are, as audiences, we are the people who like mix of things. खाने में बोल दो, fashion में बोल दो, that sweet fusion of things we like. So I love the new comedy horror genre that we have come through with, because it's giving life to horror for sure. But at the same time, it is also giving us the chance to open up the music album. If it were a pure horror album, it would be false to do a song like Aayi nahi, for example. Kheton mein to Aayi nahi. But because it's a horror comedy, because the characters are such fun-loving people and so funny themselves, that with them you can think of doing a song like Londo Ka Gana, or because the script allows you, let's say Stree 1, it did not allow us to do a adab bhara female song.
जी.
It had to be a fun song between boy and banter
Kamaria,
between
yes.
Kamaria. But Kamaria could naturally not find a fit in Stree 2. Stree 2, when you see in the film that Tamanna is a character, बहुत अदब वाला कैरेक्टर है.
अदब, तहजीब, तमीज.
हाँ, तमीज.
तो उसको वैसा गाना छपरी गाना नहीं दे सकते.
हाँ, और we cannot just, it cannot just be a fun song. There will have to be some amount of poise and some nazakat to it. So you see that I think a lot of answers we find in the script. A lot of answers we also don't dig for just on a musical level. कि just musically ये ठीक लग रहा है तो कर देंगे. And because we also don't have bank. कि ऐसा नहीं है अरे वो एक हिट गाना है, ऐसा हम सोचते नहीं. हम सोचते एक गाना है, चलो इसका बेस्ट वर्जन कैसे बनाया जा सकता है, और इस फिल्म में ये बेस्ट कैसे बैठता है. So these are the things.
Here's a small observation, perhaps that is in sync with what you have created. You're talking about Tehzeeb and Tamiz for Tamanna's character, for that particular, if I call it an item song. But there is a piece there where Pankaj Tripathi's character also shows that Tamiz and Tehzeeb by keeping that distance. And there is a small piece when she walks past him or simply, saunters past him, and the way he looks at her. And of course, the composition that you have used and the voice that is employed. What is your observation when you see this? You're like, wow, it is in perfect sync and has done justice to your creation.
So much in balance, where it is a fine line between an item. I'm even talking about the video. Such a fine line between an item song and keeping the class alive. Such a fine line between a mujra and an item song. Such a fine line between, trying to be classy but not losing the massiness of it.
Correct.
So, even lyrically, what a sweet tongue in the cheek, that not crossing the line at all, not losing the grace at all.
Stree kahiye, Bhediya kahiye, Stree 2 kahiye. I'm sure the makers and the think tank of the makers are thinking about the multiverse and the extension of the same.
Yes.
You as a composer, what is going on in your head? भाई अभी तो मतलब stake high होते जाएंगे. तो वो calculation as a composer आपके ज़हन में भी चलते हैं?
Can I take this one?
Please.
So I'm saying, we never believed in remake. So using one of our songs also will be a remake only. We still don't want to do that. We want to make, firstly we want to make enough to sample from. I just feel like we finished only with one round of, this is the first sequel, so to say, for the universe that is coming through. So I think there is, let there be enough to sample from. Okay, and I just wish that at no point, God's grace, we have to resort to using one of the older songs, because that will be the easy way out. There is a new script in place, there is a new conflict in place, there are new characters coming through. तो हम क्यों छोड़ दे कच्चा?
Correct.
तो we want to take that fight head on. पता नहीं कभी fan love के pressure में कि नहीं यार कमरिया चाहिए, part 2 चाहिए, तो I do not know if we will. Only thing we want to fall or bend our heads in front of will be fan love. But other than that, we as makers completely take pride in creating original content each time, because we, like I said earlier, we do not have bank. So we listen to a script and start creating fresh. So that's our most natural instinct, and that's, I think, where me and Jigar also start thriving, because we feel free. That freedom is there to experiment.
Jigar, in that sense, what he's talking about and extending the same conversation, would then the multiverse also be unleashed musically?
Of course. There will see there is a Bhedia theme in place, there is a Stree theme in place. So for now that we are moving ahead, I am sure that we will have the opportunity to unleash, like how you are saying. But the only thing that we really want to keep alive, one common thread that has to be alive, is the fun we are having with it. We cannot think that अरे बाप रे अब ये मल्टीवर्स बन गया तो अभी इसमें मस्ती नहीं कर सकते. We want to keep the masti of it alive. We want to keep the. We have to always go back to Stree 1, Munjia 1, Bhedia 1 to know that there was a बाकी सब ठीक बस चल रहा है. There was a Thumkeshwari, there is a Apna Bana Le, there is a Taras Nahi Aaya Tujhko, and now there is Aayi Nahi. It's such a world of madness. If we start taking it too seriously, we will lose the madness. So the only thread that in our head we have to keep constant is the madness.
When I see your body of work, it's not limited to films alone. There are non-filmy compositions as well. So when you work on these two, perhaps in separate state of mind, is there a clear line, or lines are all blurred when it comes to separating the two?
Look, we don't look at making music as content creation. First thing first, it's got to hold your attention. It has to have either enough shock value or enough credibility, enough pedigree there to latch on to. So first thing we are looking for is a takeaway home. Is there a song there in the first place? Now, what happens with OTT as a medium is that there is freedom of language. You don't have to worry about अरे ये नहीं बोल सकते, ये नहीं कर सकते type of a thing. Also, the OTT world can afford a certain type of arrangement that maybe the films cannot. So you can go light on arrangement for a OTT song. You don't have to worry. Just like independent music, why is it independent? Because it's independent of a character, independent of a producer's demand, independent of the commerce, etc. Now, when we are making independent songs, we are still adhering to the same set of audience and also competing on the same platform. Okay, so the app that you are listening to the music on is the same.
Correct.
Now, it just gives you a slightly better understanding of the situation. If you're an independent artist who woke up one day, had a great eureka, made a song and it became super popular, it's a completely different story. We are doing this for a living. For a long time now. Every day we've got to have that eureka. Every day we are supposed to deliver a hit song. Now, whether that happens every day or not is God's grace. But I'm just saying, having done it over the years for across the mediums, it is just giving us, I had a beautiful interview of Sachin Tendulkar, wherein they asked him that now that you have done this so many times, do you feel differently versus a 16-year-old boy who came to play against the first match? He said, I don't feel differently about it. I just feel like I have more options. So I just feel like we have more options. We have bailed ourselves out of a lot of situations where you could easily get stuck. Yeah. So because we do it, it's our profession, so to say, to compose songs. We know the demons that are there or that might come your way. So we are better equipped. But can I promise that I'm going to make the most popular independent song? I can't. Can I promise that I'm going to deliver the most historical song of the Indian cinema? No, I don't want to make those promises. I can only promise you this: we are better versions of what we were yesterday.
What is the charm of revisiting a popular number, which you have done, of course, in this album? What are the elements that go through your head to be able to compose it differently? Everybody wants to, latch on to the same, maybe that wave or trend. But do you guys discuss? No, even if you're doing it, we are catching on the same. We are going to do it differently. If yes, how so?
First, we will try not to ape ourselves. Our first attempt will always be that. But it is not always the option that we have. There are some producers like Dino sir who will always accept something absolutely new. He'll say, अच्छा नया है ना करते. There are other producers who will say, वो चल रहा है ना वैसा करो. Right? Now, both these theories independently are correct. Not this guy is not wrong. This guy is the person we love. because here we are starting fresh, and this is the place we want to be in. But this also we have to serve, because we cannot not do समथिंग, बिकॉज हम तो बस कुछ नया ही करना चाहते हैं. नया आप साल में 4 बार कर सकते हो, लेकिन आपको यू विल हैव टू बी कंसिस्टेंट विथ डिफरेंट प्रोडक्शन हाउसेस, विथ डिफरेंट एक्टर्स, विथ डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ स्क्रिप्ट्स, राइट. सो इफ देर इज़ अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग स्क्रिप्ट विच वी वॉन्ट टू डू, बट द प्रोडक्शन हाउस इज आस्किंग अस कि मुझे ऐसे ऐसे गाने चाहिए, वी विल डू इट बिकॉज वी लव द स्क्रिप्ट. There the real challenge is how we do it differently, and that's where I think we are both blessed that we were arrangers first before we became composers. Wow. So we produce our own music, so we would know कि okay ये 4 चीज़ करने से at least हमने उसको root से तो बदल ही दिया है. So we have that option because we've slogged as arrangers. तो हमको शायद पता है कि कौन सी चीज़ें undo करने से ये गाना अलग हो सकता है.
Quite a journey so far. One of you was pursuing chartered accountancy, and you were pursuing your MBA. You've come a long way. Of course, Pritam Da, of course, discovered that talent in you. When you see yourself in retrospect, the way you have come along, what do you think? What Pritam Da discovered in you or saw in you in the first place, and he supported it, and of course, you proved his prediction right.
I think even in that one meeting when he actually sat us down and said that, listen, you can't be arrangers all your life. There's one line that echoes my ears all the way, and I see that now when I'm working with different arrangers or programmers. He said not every arranger can be a composer. It's a different gift. You'll have to, whether you accept it now, acknowledge it now, you will have to accept it because it's a diamond, almost like a blessing given by God. Composing is an ability. So it echoes in my ears that
That's when you were working with him, right?
Yeah, we were just
So it's as good as a director telling his assistants that be a director,
Yeah.
which many directors do not do.
No, no. So
It's
Nobody
like
does.
losing out on a good assistant.
Nobody
right?
does.
just last week he came to the studio, and I'm extremely grateful. He's very father-like to us. Even after our branching out of his team in trying to pursue our career,
Also shows that he must be very secure in.
Arey,
The
there
position,
is
yeah.
nobody like him.
just
He is
further ahead. Not
secure-
just secure.
he's
He
beyond all of
loves us. He loves me and Jigar. After becoming the composers that we became, we have often gone to him with a problem, and he has still helped us, saying कि इसको ऐसा कर ले, ऐसा कर ले, ऐसा कर. So he is very father-like. I want to believe that there are things that fathers do that are not very dramatic, very subtle, and I think he takes that stance with us.
Have you ever been scolded by the father?
of course, of course.
Even now?
Yeah. In fact, that's what I'm saying, that when we had gone to him with Jeena and told him कि ये समझ नहीं आ रहा कैसे arrange करें, so बोला मारूंगा अगर change किया तो ऐसे ही डाल दे, जैसे scratch सुने तेरे ऐसे ही release कर दे. Yeah, so he holds that right. He made us. He helped us identify our powers, if I can call them powers.
But in retrospect, if we have to go back and work for him
he will not
in
blink.
future,
Will not
we
blink. Will not blink.
Will not. Of
It's
course,
such a beautiful
always,
phase of our life.
always.
My last question: the way you're talking about it and expressing all of it, much more responsibility on your musical shoulder, so to speak, as you step into the shoes of mentors for your reality TV. What do you have to say about that debut? Are you all prepared for it? And as we know, you're known for doing things differently. So in that regard, how are you going to operate in that role differently?
No, I honestly, we've been doing that off screen a lot. Just like you said, that we had the good fortune of Pritam sir giving us the helping hand. I think somewhere I wanted to become a singer until I heard Roja, and then I wanted to be a composer. So I know I've been there for a singer who works hard, shifts from some other place to Bombay, finds a footing, and is struggling. I know how insecure that place can be, and so me and Jigar have been curating a lot of new talent, not just singers, programmers, arrangers. We want to make an army of fresh blood, so much so that our music never gets old. So it's a thing that we've been doing. Yes, it's a very respectable place, very responsible place to go do it on television. and a absolute matter of honor. But
Of course, and we are just in true sense, without keeping the TV show or whatever dynamic of it in mind, we truly want to discover some talent and find their place in our music.
Why stop at just universe or multiverse? The kind of music you're belting out, I want parallel universe to work for you
Thank you.
in your favor as
Thank
well.
you so much.
Thank you so much for having this
Thank you.
lovely chat with us.
Thank you
All
so
the
much.
best.
Thank you. Thank you, man.